that when other entities are around me, they hear everything that I say and do. And this is why I've been staying off of YouTube. Good news is I'm not dealing with demons, but I'm dealing with other entities that are what we call lost souls, and they're from the year 1574. And I'll explain that later. Anyway, I really want to say hi to all my Facebook friends, any of my Facebook friends that are watching. I miss all of you. My email address is listed in this video. So if you'd like to email me, ask me any questions, or just say hi, I would really welcome that from you. So let's get going. I have learned so much in the last 4 years, but just recently really understand exactly how it works after you leave Earth. So first I want to say that everything that you've learned on Earth is a lie, and hopefully you've realized this by now. And death is something everyone fears. And it's always posted on the internet, like how you can live longer and how you can do this to extend your life. Well, let me explain one thing to you. People only think they need to extend their lives because it's what they're told. We are not even human. We are temporary humans. Our soul is what is alive and always alive. And who is speaking to you right now is my soul. My body is a costume that I chose to wear in this particular life. But after you leave Earth, you go home. And home is not Earth. Earth is an extremely important planet because it's a place for you to learn. So many people have come to Earth and haven't learned anything, haven't grown at all, haven't raised their vibration, their frequency, or learned the actual truth of life. So what happens is when your contract is up, because you do have a contract when you come and when you leave, when your contract is up, you go home, and not everyone has the same experience because it's according to your soul. The point of the matter is that this is where you learn. You can go home and still not know anything. Now, in the past, I was made to believe that once you leave Earth, you become your true self, which that is true, but that you know everything that I know. And come to find out, dealing with all these lost souls, that is not even true at all. You can live your whole life here, not learn anything. You can go home and you're the same person. You have the opportunity to go to school when you leave here. And a lot of people choose not to do that. And that's their choice. But I'm going to tell you right now, that's not a good choice because your goal is to come to Earth, learn, change some of your issues. You're challenged when you're here by other people because other people only mirror you and showing you what you need to change about yourself. And people who don't understand that take offense to it, get upset, get revengeful, get angry, and all of those emotions are harmful to you. So what you want to do is learn. And if you don't learn, go to school when you leave. And then when you come back the next time, it's going to be different anyway, because for the first time, because of ascension, we are going to be a planet only of truth. Now, I obviously have been part of releasing all the evil off this planet. I've been doing this, well, intensely for 4 years. They've been in my life since birth, but here and there, out throughout my life, they've come in and done things to me, the demons, and stolen my stuff, and here, there, whatever. But it's been the last 14 years more intense. I've been dealing with the dark. And so I have the ability to see and speak to anyone. Now, I've always been able to speak to animals. And because I'm an emotional healer, I've always said I'm a world emotional healer. It makes a lot more sense right now because I've been healing not only the people on this planet, but the people that are not on this planet. I've even educated demons. I have educated lost souls. And to remind you, a lost soul is a soul that leaves Earth on a death. And I do this because there is no death. It's how you know it. I'll say death of the physical body. And if they're still dealing with karma, they don't go straight to the light, because that's where we all go, is to the light. If you're a demon, you can't go to the light, so you can't go there. If you're super dark and you're not a demon, but you're real dark, you can't go to the light either. So there is no heaven and hell. There is going to be a heaven. We're creating that right now, on high frequency Earth. And eventually everybody will get there. But in order to get there, you have to be full of self-love. And don't tell yourself you love yourself, because 90% of you don't even know what it means. We weren't taught that either, so I would suggest you look that up. But in any case, so I thought that you go home and you automatically know everything. Well, people like me obviously do. But people who aren't awake, they don't. And this is how I now know. There's so much that's been going on in my life. It's just absolutely amazing. Uh, I want to actually add another blip here, that how we talk about karma and we come back and we deal with our karma. Well, think about this. You might have been on this planet, I don't know, 10,000 times or 5,000 times, whatever. And every time you've come, it's been you in a different body. And in these situations, you might have created some karma, which probably have. I think we all have. So then when you come back to Earth, it's all planned out. You decide what you want to deal with in your next life. So I'm going to use me, for instance, because I know all about me. And I didn't know this until recently, but apparently this life matches my life 3 lifetimes ago. So not the last life, not the second life before that, but the third life I lived in 1574. In 1574, I was married. I had 2 daughters, and I had, and I was Black. I think I lived in the USA as a Black person. But in any case, in that particular life, when my youngest child turned 7, she was murdered. And because she was murdered, obviously, it was a very traumatic experience for me. Anyone who deals with trauma, excessive trauma, where you just close off completely from the world, you become bait for demons. Demons go after people like that. So, unfortunately, in that particular life, I became possessed by demons. Now, this isn't about that, but I just want you to know I locked my heart because that happened. And in this life, I had a real hard time connecting to that love feeling because of it, which I've worked that out, thank God. Um, in that life, I locked up my heart, and because of that, I also couldn't. I'm sorry. Before that, I put my relationships in front of me. So all my relationships that I had in that life, I put in front of me. Whenever I was in a relationship, the man, whatever the man wanted, is what I did. That's what I'm trying to say. So when we fast forward to this life, um, my life was all about, well, a billion things, but relationships. Since the first grade, I was in a relationship until 2008. And since the first grade to 2008, I had umpteen relationships I never had to go look for. They always just appeared. Um, I've had 3 marriages in that relationship in this time period. 3 ex-husbands is what I have. And that's because I still did not learn, even though I thought after every relationship, I got it now, I get it, I understand it. I did not understand it. I was missing the key ingredient. And the key ingredient is, who was I? Because you attract yourself. Law of attraction says you can only love yourself. You can only attract someone who loves you as much as you love yourself. So then you attract lessons. What was my lessons with these 3 men? Insecurity. I attracted 3 insecure men, which I couldn't stand them because they were so insecure, but I didn't realize it was me who was insecure. And that's why that happened. So it always comes back to you. So after that, I hadn't been in a relationship since 2008, because since then, and now it's 2024, I have been working on myself, and I have grown in leaps and bounds. Um, your life becomes easy, magical. You can manifest, do whatever you want. So I'm going to get back to the death situation right now. Um, So, in this process, because of who I am, I've always had the ability to see spirits. I've been doing that since 1984. I've been seeing spirits. And I'll just say dead people. Um, One time I was in a synagogue to watching a bar mitzvah, and it was my nephew. And anyway, he was on the stage, and there was this man that was running around, but nobody could see him but me. And anyway, long story short, after the bar mitzvah, I went out, outside to the lobby. Then there was a photo of the rabbi who was, who used to run this synagogue for a ton of years. And it was the man that I saw. And it had his birth and his death. So I knew, obviously who he was and why he was there, and that he had died. I went to a seminar, and I don't know if some of you might know Patricia Cota Robles. This was in maybe 2010 or 11 here in San Diego. And if you can imagine what it's like to be in a room with hundreds of awakened people. The energy is so powerful. It's so intense and it's so positive and it's so healing and it's the best experience you could have um, with awakened people. I just want to make that clear. In any case, I want to tell you that while Patricia was talking, behind her, there's a stage, and in living color, I don't normally see living color, but this time, in the brightest living color, behind her on the stage was grass, rolling hills, sheep, and there was a bench. And on that bench sat Gandhi, and Jesus was talking to him. Now, Jesus had his foot on the bench, and they were having this long conversation. It, it was like looking at a movie. It was so bright and colorful. And I know Jesus is your brother. He's not someone who is the child of God that was saved. We're all God's children. You see lies on every angle. Anyway, Jesus actually, in one of my lifetimes, taught me how to heal. So I know I keep changing, but I just want you to know about that too, because that's important for you all to know. In fact, you can talk to anyone. It's that you don't believe that you can. So it started out that I was talking to animals. And I don't just talk to animals, animals would come to me, but only emotional animals, upset, sad animals would come to me and tell me their problems. Well, now I talk to everything like dolphins, whales, birds, rocks. I can take a shower and the water in the shower will give me a message. I talk to my plants, and my plants tell me stuff, give me messages if I ask for them. And if I'm sad or depressed, they'll tell me that they love me. Out of the blue, I don't ask them. All of a sudden, I can hear them and I know who it is. So I also talk to people who died. Now, it started with my mother. My mother died in 1996, and my mother and I did not have a good relationship. Not at all. My parents were about control only. I was the youngest and very rebellious. So, and I was kicked out of the house, disowned by the family many times, the typical black sheep, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, after she died, first she came to my house and she didn't even look like herself. She was all bent up and crooked, and that's not really how she appeared to me, but that's how she appeared to me in my first dream of her. And she picked up one of my spiritual books and said, "Why didn't you tell me about this when I was on earth?" And I said, "Because you never listened to anything I ever said," which was so true. My mom was funny about age, like age really was important to her. And if you were 10, you were smarter than the 11-year-old, and you sure couldn't talk to that 11-year-old. And let me tell you, that has still the way people think today. I mean, watch any dating show, and they'll first thing they'll say is, "How old are you?" "Well, I'm 26." "Well, how old are you?" I'm 24." "Oh, you're only 24? Well, you're really young and you don't know anything. I don't date younger people." I mean, that's so ridiculous because age isn't even a reality. It's only how long you've been on earth this time. So if you were Jesus that came back as a human, do you think you know everything? Hell yes. Do you think you have to grow up to know things? No. Babies know a lot more than a lot of grown humans do because they've come here with more memory. So, anyway, I had a relationship with my mother for, I don't know, 3 years, I think, until she reincarnated. And then since then, first it was my first husband passed and he came to me and apologized because Everyone who leaves the planet who did me wrong comes and apologizes to me. So it was my mother, it was my father. Um, it wasn't years ago, like my aunts and uncles and my grandparents. That didn't happen way back then. So it started with my mom. And now, like I said, I talk to these lost souls and I've learned so much that, okay, so what happens is normally you go straight to the light. Once your body, you have a spirit body, and once the cord is cut from your spirit body to your human body, you're in the light just like that. I mean, in a second, that's it. You're in a car crash, you die, bam, you're in the light. Well, other people could be in car crash, plane crashes, die of sickness, illness, get shot, whatever. And depends on your soul growth. If you're dealing with karma, you become a lost soul. A lost soul does not go straight to the light. A lost soul doesn't even know to go to the light. And so these are the ghosts. Now, I've had this video before, and I'm not going to get into that. I'm just bringing it up to explain the rest. So now, let's say now you're a ghost. And what does the earth tell you? That if you are on top of a grave site, dead people will come. Just realize that none of that's true. None of it. Okay, so now I'm talking to these people and I'm telling them to go to the light, go to the light, go to the light, go to the light. And then I'll get these people like, I'm not going. Why? Because all the very devout religious people are so brainwashed that they were told that God said, the priest said that God said, yeah, the light is bad. Do not go to the light. And this is why these people refuse to go to the light. So then I have to explain it to them. Okay, now recently, I've been crossing over all these lost souls from the year 1574. Now, there is no time except on earth, because really you should be only in the present moment. That's the only real time. But can you imagine these people have been in darkness since 1574? But you see, to them, there is no time. So it isn't like it's been 400 or 500 years ago, if you know what I mean. So now I'm educating these people and telling them to go to the light. They don't understand why they should go to the light. In fact, they didn't go to the light because they were afraid to go to the light. So now I have to explain it to them why you go to the light. And then I have to write notes because I do sleep at night and they come 24 hours a day. And so I write them notes. It's been kind of fun because some of these people, like just before I go to bed, I would say, could you do me a favor? Is there any way you could write a note? And they go, yeah. And I'm going, wow, you can? Okay, cool. So would you write a note? So, because I want to go to sleep and don't want to be disturbed. So could you write a note to all these other lost souls and tell them that what I wrote is true? Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. So this person wrote a note. And then all these people come and they see my note. And then they see their note that's there, wherever that there is. And it says true. And so that would work for a while. And then someone would say something, well, I have a better way of writing it. And then they would write something that they thought was better, and then they would write it. So now we have two notes on the wall for these people to see. Well, lo and behold, still people didn't really believe it. So then this other person showed up. I have to laugh. This person said, I can write the best note that everybody will believe. And then, so he wrote the note. Now I have an Arcturian guide here with me that helps me with all of this, plus soldiers from Archangel Michael. Thank you, Archangel Michael. And so I asked my guide, what does the note say that this guy said was so great? And he just said truth and signed his name because his name carried a lot of clout. So that worked for a little while, but then all the rest of the people didn't know him, so it didn't work at all. So anyway, I've been talking to these people, explaining reality to these people, and it still didn't understand the fact that once they got to the light, they still wouldn't know anything. I didn't know that in the beginning. Now I'm getting all the darkness from 1574, the darkness that can't go to the light. They're close to being demonic. In fact, they're here now and they're listening to everything I say because I haven't had freedom of thought for at least 5 years, if not longer. So it is kind of annoying, but I'll just let you know that's what's going on. If you see anything around me, that's what it is. Okay, so now I used to go to this dive bar, oh God, probably for 6, 7 years. It was just a fun little place. You could play pool, you could dance. And I just got some friends from that place. Now, mind you, none of these people were awake, but if someone had an issue or problem, I would give them my truth advice. Um, Little did I know that they listened, but they thought I was whacked out crazy. Whacked out crazy to the point that they all talked about me. In fact, anyone who walked into that bar, and if I happened to be there, they were told that girl over there, she's nuts. Don't talk to her. How do I know this? Well, 2 weeks ago, 2 to 3 weeks ago, all of a sudden, well, I already know this too, but a lot of people are leaving Earth right now through accidents. So you'll see a lot of accidents happening, and most of them won't be reported because there's billions of accidents that you don't even know that's going on. Car accidents, train accidents, plane accidents. Then there was the accident, with the bridge in Baltimore. These are all planned things. That nothing happens by accident. It's just called an accident because they don't tell you everything happens for a reason. So I'm telling you. So these people started coming and apologizing to me. And I can't explain how I know it, but like I'm sitting and all of a sudden I can feel like some energy, like it dents me. It's about the easiest way I could describe it. And I'll go, oh, first I'll ask my Arcturian guide, is there someone here? Yes. Can I talk to that person? Yes. Because I don't want to be talking to any dark people. So this person goes, hi, I want to apologize. Well, do I know you? Yes. And so where do I know you from? And they named the dive bar that I went to. And I go, well, what's your name? And I go, I don't really know anyone by that name. Well, you don't really know me, but I know you. And I just want to apologize for talking about you. Oh, okay. Thanks. And that happened 11 times. 11 people, like within 3 days, were killed in car crashes who went to that place, who all talked about me, and they all came to apologize. Well, this one girl, she just came last week, and she was actually, in the beginning, a friend of mine. We actually hung out together. I helped her immensely with spiritual tools. She was so appreciative of what I had done for her that she just kept buying me gifts. She just wanted to take me out to lunch and buy me gifts, blah, 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 blah. And then one day, bam, she turned and she hated me. And I was like the worst person in the whole world. And I could never understand why. whatever. And she passed last week or the week before. And so she said, "Oh, Maxine, I'm so sorry." And I said, "Well, let me ask you a question. I did a lot of good things for you. So why did you turn on me?" She goes, "Well, to be honest, everybody convinced me to. So I just followed the crowd. And I'm sorry." And so I said, "Well, you might be sorry, but I don't really think all those other people from that bar are really sorry." And she goes, "Oh, yeah, they really are. In fact, we're all here hanging out together." Where are they? They're somewhere in the universe. They all died. They all went straight to the light. They saw their movie. And I don't really understand how this is going on, but I'm apparently the talk of the town in the universe because so many people come and tell me, "Oh my God, um, everyone talks about you, that you're a demon slayer, how powerful and strong you are." And I'm thinking, this is absolutely crazy. But everyone says it. So then there was a guy that I used to date back in, let's see, 1998. I think it was 1997. No, 1998. I met this guy in 1998. We went out a couple of times. But then I ended up going out with another guy, and marrying him instead. Anyway, this guy came to me like 5 days ago, and he said, "Hi." Now, he didn't apologize to me because there was no reason to apologize. He goes, "Hi, Maxine. I'm so glad to see you. I'm really surprised um, about what I've been hearing about you, and how you're this major demon slayer, and that you're the most powerful soldier in the whole universe, in the whole world, more stronger than any soldier in the USA even." So anyway, we were chatting, and I can ask these people because once you're out of your body, even though you're not awake, you will know all the lives you lived. You know all the lives I've lived. So I have found out about tons and tons of lives that I've lived in the past. I've already known quite a few, but now I know a lot more. And because they've told me. And anyway, uh, so now this was last night. Last night. Now, I want to explain this to you too. People, once they pass over, they can't see me as a human. They only see my soul. My soul is bright, bright, bright light. Now, I've seen other people's bright light because 90% of the lost souls who come through here are not lit up. But every once in a while, there might be two or three, and that's really all I've seen in all the years I've been doing this, that are bright lights. Somehow, maybe they didn't learn from karma. I really don't know. I just sent them home, but so I know what it looks like. And it's so bright it can blind you, the light that comes from you. And anyway, this man says, "Well, hi, Maxine." I go, "Hi, do I know you?" "Yes." "Where do I know you from?" "High school." "Oh, from high school." "Well, you know how many years ago that is?" um, "Okay. What was your name?" "I don't remember you." He said, "Well, we weren't really friends, but I know who you are. And I just need to ask you, what happened to you?" So I have to sit there and think, what happened to me? Well, obviously, nothing happened to me. So he must have heard the rumor, which obviously is true, that I was some big demon slayer. So because I'm who I am and I speak my truth 1100%, I said to him, "Oh, I get it. You heard that I was a demon slayer and you think something happened to me because of that, right?" "Yes." And I'm like, "Well, let me explain this to you. I have to ask you a few questions." I said, "Are you familiar with ascension?" "No." "Hmm. You don't know what ascension is." I'm thinking this to myself, then he's not awake. That's why he's thinking like, "Oh my God, what happened to me?" So I said to him, "Oh, so you're one of those types of people that followed the news." "Yeah." "And took all the vaccines and every single booster." "Oh, yes, of course." "And you believe in conspiracy theories or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, yes, most definitely." And I said, "Oh, well, let me tell you this. It's a very sad thing, but this is how it works. You come back and forth to earth to deal with your karma. And when you go to earth, and if you don't learn, which obviously you learned nothing on earth." And I said, "Didn't your life just completely repeat over and over and over again?" He goes, "Yes, all the time. Same things kept coming over and over and over again." I said, "Because you did not learn that it'll keep coming back until you learn why it's repeating. It's always about you." So I said, "I'm going to give you a suggestion. You need to go to school. Because if you don't go to school while you're where you are right now, you're going to come back to earth and you're going to start again. And if you don't remember anything that you learned, or if you didn't learn anything, you're just going to do the same thing over and over again. So I suggest you go to school." And then right after that, I did forget to mention, so it was actually before that, I'm sorry, the guy that I used to date, back in 1998 or whatever. When I was talking to him, I said, "So," I said, "I remember you as someone who always got into trouble." Because when I met him, he was in the Navy and then he got into trouble. So he was just a fun, happy go lucky person who just always wanted to have fun, never grow up, and would do things and get himself always into trouble. So I said, "Did you change?" Because now he's probably like in his 50s. And I said, "Did you change at all?" He said, "No." And I said, "And so I'm assuming you left in a car accident?" "Yep." And I said, "So," and he wanted to stay around me. He never wanted to leave my side, and I'm not having that. So I told him, "You can't stay." Um, and then I left, and then my guide said, "You need to contact him again and tell him to go to school." This is how I learned this, that you don't learn once you to once you leave your body and go back home. So I said to him, I said, "So now that you're where you're at, did you learn anything?" "No." "Do you know anything that you didn't know before?" "No." So he goes, I really don't even know what to do with myself." I said, "Well," I called him back and I said, "Look," I said, "Do you want to improve your life and do you want to grow and learn?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Were you offered to go to school?" He said, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Did you turn that down?" "Oh, for sure. Like, you can go to school. What do I want to do that for?" Right? I said, "I suggest you take up that offer and go to school, because this is how you're going to learn and this is how you're going to grow. And this is how you're going to stop coming back to earth. And this is how you're going to make it to high frequency earth." So there you go. That's the deal. Now I found out that when you leave earth, you're exactly who you are. You're not any different. But the difference is that I thought when you go, you just automatically know everything, but you know nothing. Absolutely nothing. You might know past lives. Like this guy told me that we had a life together. We were brother and sister. Pretty much everybody I've met that have been close to me have been in my life in some form or capacity. Has been a father, a mother, a brother, a sister, an uncle, an aunt. I met my mother from 1574, and She came to me 3 years ago, but I didn't know at the time it was 1574. I knew that I'd lived a life that I was Black, but I didn't know it was 1574. It's not the only life that I was Black in, but that one I was for sure. Um, I was told that, my daughter was murdered, and I personally met the person who murdered my daughter in that bar. Now, when I met that person, I was kind of attracted to him. And I kept thinking to myself, I really, like to go out with him and I'd like to get to know him, yada, yada, yada. And this voice comes and says, he's not who he appears to be. Well, that voice was my brother, who was my brother in 1574. So now I've met my mother, my brother, and the murderer. Now, the murderer came to me and apologized, but he didn't mean it because he's super evil. So I had to get rid of him. He can't go to the light. That's how bad he is. So it's been very interesting. So this is why it is important for you to learn as much as you can before you leave Earth. This is time for you to understand that whoever leaves Earth, they're not gone for good. You don't need to go to some grave site to talk to someone. You can talk to anybody in your home. Now, I was at the dentist, and I love my dentist. He's the best dentist in the whole world. And that's no lie. His father was an excellent dentist, and he learned all his ways from his father. His father passed, and one day I was at, the off in his chair getting drilled on, and all of a sudden his father comes and is begging me to talk to him and give him a message. And I'm like, will he understand? Will he think I'm crazy? I mean, are you sure? He's like, yes, 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 you have to do it. So after, the dentist was done, I said, can I talk to you in private? Well, he was kind of freaking out because he didn't understand what I wanted to talk to him in private. And he says, yeah, sure, I'll be back right here. So he comes back and I tell him, I hope you don't understand, you don't get upset about this. I said, but I believe that nobody dies, everyone lives eternally. And while you were working on my mouth, your father came and wanted me to give you a message. And he wanted me to tell you, blah, 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 blah. And then I start crying. Now I'm crying because his father is crying, and just telling you brings tears to my eyes because this is how excited he was that I was able to give his son this message that he's been wanting to give him for the last year. And this is what you all need to do. You need to believe that no one dies. You need to believe that you can talk to anyone. And you need to start talking to your relatives, your family, your parents, your children, who's ever left. You can talk to them and have a relationship with anybody that you want, here or there. And they do come around. Now, they watch everything, they see everything. Sometimes my father comes and visits and I don't even know he's here. I only know he's here if he wants me to know he's here. So there's no reason to cry or be upset. I am happy when people who are deathly ill leave. Who wants to suffer or lay in some bed and be a vegetable until it's time for your soul to leave its body? And all of you try to prolong these people's lives, and you do it not for them, but for yourself. And you don't even have to. You can have a relationship with anyone you want. You can't go out to their house and visit them. You might not be able to see them, but you can talk to them. What's the difference? You're on the phone, you don't see them. So I just really want to get that point across. that there's nothing to fear. Everything happens like that. And I also want to tell you that you can pick however you want to appear when you cross over. Most people want to be younger, and so that's how they appear. And all these souls actually appear to each other looking like a human, even though they're not human. And all these souls who are not in human body have all their powers that you don't have because you forgot that you had them. Now, once ascension happens, it's going to be, everyone's going to be able to do it. But right now, the power you can have might not be the same equal power that they have. They don't even realize the power they have. I just know because they turn my TV on and off. These are people like I talked to before, lost souls who don't even, some of them didn't even know they died. They don't even know it. That's telling you a lot, isn't it? There's no change. So I'll say to them, like, well, can you see? Yes. Do you have eyes? No. Can you hear? Yes. Do you have ears? No. Can you smell? Yes. Do you have a nose? No. And how do we speak? Here. I talk to everyone here. I can have long, drawn out conversations, full sentences and paragraphs that I couldn't do before, and I can do that now. So I really enjoy that. I like understanding everything, but that's who I've always been. And I've always been the person that when I learn something, I want to share with all of you. So that's what I'm doing is I'm sharing this to you. So I hope you enjoyed this. I do want to mention one thing, which I wanted to bring up earlier, and it's not that big of a deal, but I just want to tell you my neighbor, I had a neighbor, I brought her up in one of my last videos. She was actually Andromedian, but she didn't know it. I ended up meeting her. We became friendly, and I figured out that she was a star seed from Andromeda, and she was able to relate to that. So that was good. But she was very ill. She needed a lung transplant. She had diabetes. She was losing sight in one of her eyes. She had a colostomy bag. She didn't have a wheelchair. She had a motorized vehicle cart. And telling you to take her vehicle to the laundromat, which was down the hall, and just to get out of that chair and put her clothes in the washing machine was difficult because of her lungs. That's how ill she was. Well, long story short, she moved. She moved in, lived with her daughter. Then I found out she had an operation. Then I found out during her operation she died. This was last year, could be 2 years ago. I mean, I don't follow time. You know what I'm saying? So it's either a year or 2 years ago, but I think it's two. And so when I found out that she had passed, then the next day she came to my house. Now her I could see. She was 74 when she passed. And when I saw her, she was probably 21. She had short blonde hair. She had on this beautiful, pretty colored print dress with like yellow flowers on it. She was jumping up and down. She was twirling around. She was dancing. She was so extremely happy. Well, who wouldn't be? She's out of that diseased body. And she said to me, "Oh, Maxine, I need to tell you, every single thing you told me about what it's like after you die is exactly true." Now, it's true for her because became awake and she sees all the colors and everything. Now, I haven't asked any of these people who recently passed if they see these colors. I'm going to actually the next time someone comes to apologize. But anyway, this is the end of my video. I think you got my message, and I would really appreciate it if you share it to people who've just recently lost someone, or share it to someone you know who is on their way of dying or whatever. But most people who are dying know it anyway, and will are already being prepared. They're already talking to spirits, etc. So, but anyway, their family members, whatever. The truth needs to get out. And this is an important truth. That's what I believe. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks, and bye. Don't know how to sign out, so I got to figure this out. Okay. I used to have a program on my computer that I don't have anymore, and I'm not very. Oh, okay. I found. I'm not computer literate. Anyway, thanks again for coming, and you have a blessed day. Bye.